Hey guys, Terran23 here, and what I'm going to do today is I'm going to do what I'm going to call from now on a dungeon and review. The dungeon, or raid, as you want to call it, I'm going to review today is Mugashan Vaults, or MSV 10-man. I want to talk about how difficulty this is, being the first dungeon release in Tier 11. I want to talk about the type of raid composition that's repetitious used, and I want to talk about some of what it'll take for just a casual / medium progressive guild to push through this raid encounter. And then at the end of the video, I want to tell you guys what my overall opinion of the dungeon, or actually the MSV raid is, and let you know how I think they did and if there's anything they can do to improve the next tier without making the same mistakes. First, let's talk about this raid as a whole, MSV. I think the raid as a whole is quite a step up from Dragon Soul. I think pretty much at the end of Cataclysm, Dragon Soul had been out so long that people were just tired of it. Plus, it was not the encounter that it was hyped up to be. Everybody was looking forward to a massive, engaging encounter, fighting Deathwing, different phases. Flying on his back was fine, and moving up to the spine and so on and so forth was good, but the whole issue is, that's not the kind of fight anybody expected out of Dragon Soul. Everybody expected Deathwing to be this massive monster that was just going to wreck face. And really, as usual, the #1 guilds in the world just seem to destroy content left and right, upside down. Even the middle of the pack guilds just taking Heroic down before the buff was even in and doing a great job at doing it. Coming into this, everybody had a week to prepare to get gear and sort out who was going to be in their raid teams and their guilds. For Surreptitious, at the time we were still on another server. We made a server transfer in, I want to say, the middle of October, end of November, or beginning of November, I say. And we started forming our groups. So it's been a long run for us. We've been in here quite a few times, wiped quite a few times, had some different people we've tried out in the raid group that didn't work out, or they did work out. But the first fight, especially in my opinion, is as hard as, or if not harder than the Elegon fight, is Stone Guards. Stone Guards was a very difficult tank-oriented fight. If a tank screwed up a taunt, and he gave the raid multiple extra explosions from one of the Guardians, it was definitely a raid wipe, especially when you're just getting in there and you're a guild with 463 gear. It could end up that way very, very quickly. One or two of those extra explosions from one of the Guardians wiped us on a new number of occasions. So the fight, I would say, you've got to have a good coordination with the tank and the off tank. They have to be able to talk to each other very well, and your guild has to have an understanding, keep the vent clear at all times. I do love the mechanics. I love that the way Blizzard redesigned and came back to a much more difficult tanking idea, because honestly, in the past couple expansions, Wrath, in my opinion, probably the best expansion out there, had some outstanding fights, tanking and healing wise, which I did both during the expansion on my Druid. But overall, I would have to say that this really puts it solidly on a tank understanding their role, understanding their cooldowns, being able to work well with the other tank that's in the group with them, and furthermore, using their cooldowns at the proper time to keep themselves up, just in case the healer is trying to keep someone else up. For me, I've got Rallying Cry, Last Stand, I've got my shields, my shield barrier, my shield block. So, it's understanding your class is the biggest thing right now. Stone Guardians was an awesome fight. Like I said, tank oriented. Our composition, we decided that it was best to go range heavy. We stack everybody on the carpet, and we really enjoyed the fight because it keeps a lot out. So we're 2 mages, 2 hunters, warlock, a warrior for melee, and then a warrior tank, and we're just switching over to a DK tank along with 2 priest healers. So it seems to be working out okay. We have a good composition. We have a lot of smart people who are picking up their raid awareness week by week as we get fully into gear to move forward. Like I said, this week seemed to be the right week for us. Everything clicked. Everybody got their jobs done, and we one-shotted Stone Guard. And then we came to Fang. Fang, Fang almost seems like a gimme boss. He really does. Fang seems like a gimme boss as long as the tank who gets the Shroud of Reversal can truly just yank that lightning fist off the other tank and interrupt Epicenter on the second and fourth phase. After that, it's pretty much easy as long as the raid stacks up and they turn around and they get rid of the fire out of the group and they don't drop it in the group or drop it on them. And then the third phase, Arcane Resonance, it seems to be a raid wiper, but it only took a couple times for people to understand at 2 seconds, get out, and we went forward from there. Overall, I think the fight was a very intense fight. I like how you had the 3 phase swaps. It was really awesome. I really enjoyed it. I like the fact that Blizzard took the Mogu and showed us the different points of power that they have using 3 different statues. And I know in Heroic it goes into the 4th statue and it randomizes which one it's going to, so you can't plan for what you're going to do on, first it's going to be the Epicenter phase, then it's going to be Draw Flame phase, and then it's going to be Arcane Velocity. Well, your raid awareness has to go up another notch in the Heroic mode due to the fact that you've got the 4th statue that he can draw power from and switch to. So overall, I think the encounter was fun and engaging, and Blizzard did a wonderful job putting it in there. Then we move on to Spirit Binder. Spirit Binder seemed to be the DPS check of this raid, and your situational awareness capability for your raiding guild. Overall, the fight is fun. Really, it's not a hard fight for tanks. It's pretty much a tank and spank. You get banished every once in a while. You can go down and you can either turn around and help if you have enough time and your DPS is high enough. You can turn around and help the ranged, whoever's underneath, kill the shadowy minions and then get on your main voodoo guy and make sure that you get him down before your timer's up or you'll die. But other than that, that's the hardest thing for the tank, is to rotate cooldowns. Make sure you hold the top threat between you and the other tank, and watch everybody DPS the shit out of it. At 20%, I do like the Enraged. There was many times we've got Spirit Binder to 5% and below. The lowest we got him before we downed him last week, 1.7%, and then like a 2.4% this week. Earlier in the week we had a 10%, a 5%, and we had to make some changes within our raid group. Once we did that, we one-shot a Spirit Binder. We definitely just had to switch who we had going under. What we decided to go under to make it easy on us for some reason, we have 2 hunters that we send in first unless they're voodoo. So it really worked out to the advantage of sending the hunters in, because they were literally talking on vent during some of the fights saying, guys, there's no shadowy minions, we're still waiting for spawns. And then, they had already be healed to full, everything would be dead, less raid damage going out. It's a good thing. So I do like that there's a DPS check in here and a gear check. It's definitely a gear check for tank 2. Your tanks too, let me say that. Because if your tank is taking too hard of hits from Spirit Binder Gar'Jal, it will not be pretty for your healers, especially if you're using a combination like we do. We are only using a 2-healer combo. Some guilds have downed this boss with 3 healers. We want to stick with 2 healers, so it is definitely, everybody has to be on top of their game. The fight's definitely fun and engaging, like I said, for almost every fight in here. But I have to say, this is definitely one of my favorite fights, because you're so amped up to get that kill, and that 1.7% wipe we had last week, I'm telling you guys, we were right there on the cusp, and to watch everybody die and cooldowns not keep you up, it just slipping through your fingers, you got to make some changes. But the closer you get, the more you want it, and that's what progression's all about. That's what moving forward's all about. It's not always about the gear, it's about the euphoria you get from killing that boss after you worked so hard for it. Moving on, Spirit Kings. This is what I'm going to call a loot pinata. Loot pinata, loot pinata, loot pinata. Play that fight for you guys again. Spirit Kings is definitely a loot pinata, because you need 1 tank, 9 DPS, or not 9 DPS, 1 tank, 2 healers, and 3 or 7 DPS. Your off tank can definitely turn into your DPS as long as he has DPS spec. If not, DPS in your tanking gear, no big deal. Definitely one of my favorite fights in here. Not difficulty-wise. I call it a loot pinata because I think overall it's probably the easiest fight in here next to Will of the Emperor. I really like the fact that this fight is broken up into 4 phases, and each boss has its own set of mechanics during those 4 phases. So it is really nice to see. It gives you something different to look at every couple minutes in the fight. I was very, very happy with this. Very simply put, we have one shot of this every time we've done it, except for tonight we kind of oopsed on our first pull. Had a couple people die, so we wiped it, picked it up, and we took them out. But a very cool fight because you've got everything from the flanking movements. You've got the annihilation from the first boss you pick up. Then you've got volley and an arrow shot that rains down on one player in one area. And then you've got the minion that spawns and chases you around the room. Your ranger's got to switch targets and make sure they take that ad down before it actually gets to the target. Watch out for the giant black circle. It looks like the same thing that was in ICC on the Lich King. I can't remember the name of its ability there, but basically the same thing. Don't stand in the black shit and you'll be okay. And then after you kill the third boss and his stupid little spinny AoE move, second boss, he's gonna continue to follow you around and drop his AoE on you even after you kill him. So it's pretty funny to watch how they still interact with each other and they're all upset. And then flanking movements. I mean, it's a movement coordinated fight. You have to be able to move, DPS, and tank and heal at the same time, because there's a lot of times where one of the bosses will do a move right on you and you have to move out of the damn way. So it happens. But very fun fight. I really liked it. I liked the phase changes in each one, and I had a blast doing it. Last night was kind of interesting. We lost our healers right at the end of the fight. Our pally healer that we had with us last night was still up for a minute, and then it got a little hectic at the end, but we popped everything and we burned them down, and everybody used their health stones at the proper time and managed to use their CDs properly. So like I said, guys, awesome fight. Love the mechanics, love the phase changes, love the different 4 bosses. It's very awesome and fun to be in there and know you're 4 of 6. And then moving forward, the Guild Breaker, the one, the only, the fight you're watching now, Elegon. This is our kill video from last night. Elegon is a guild killer. He's discouraged a lot of people from raiding. So it's pretty interesting to see. This was our first. We've been here once before, but we only pulled twice, just due to time constraints. But tonight was pretty much our first real go at it, and we had some new people in the run with us that hadn't made it this far. So the big thing is we wiped 11 times and downed him the 12th time. This is hard to say. I go back and forth on which fight is harder between the Stone Guardians and Elegon. Each has their own set of separate mechanics, taunt swaps, picking up ads. There's a lot of stuff to do in each fight, and it's critical that you maintain and you manage properly, because if you don't, it is going to be a wipe. It's very critical that you get stuff done right. So, man, I don't know which one's harder. I don't know how I'd rate it. My opinion, probably still, because it took a while for Stone Guardians. It might be the more difficult of the 2 fights. So overall, this fight has got 3 different phases and then the final phase. I love the artwork in this encounter in particular. I love the celestial look as Elegon being the guardian of Mugashan Vaults. He's a program, a construct of sorts, and I think he's an amazingly well laid out fight. Each phase, like using Rallying Cry on Total Annihilation to help your healers, especially when you're 2 healing it. everybody stacking and staying together. As you can see, I finally got it to the point where our group understands stacking and staying together is the right thing to do, and dropping your stacks. As you can see, I drop my stacks a lot during this fight, as much as I can when I don't have the boss. But man, you know, watching people fall, I think an LFR on this fight is the funniest thing in the world, because people don't pay attention. They're just like, oh, I'm just going to stand here. And you're sitting there tanking the boss, and you know the floor is going to despawn in 6 seconds. So you start running away, and you intercept, or you freaking turn around and you leap the hell out of there, or you charge one of the pylons as fast as you can, and then you watch half your raid fall. I think that was one of the funniest moments I saw in LFR the first time I did this fight. And then last night, you know, we had some bad luck. Our tank, Mimbo, who was with us, Mimbo was standing on the edge, and he went to strafe over a little bit to get back in range of attacking one of the pylons, and he turned around and fell into the hole. It was hilarious. It was a hilarious fight. We were perfectly fine. We had no issues up until the point Mimbo fell, and there was nothing we could do about it at that point. As you can see, like I said, we had some good people with us last night to take Elegant down. A couple people had to go to work, so we rotated a couple times. But you know, you've got the pylons, the orbs you need to kill, so you can get the stacking debuff on Elegant. You've got the ads in phase 2 going back into phase 1 that you need to kill. You got the arcane protectors in phase 1. You know, there's so much raid damage going out that you have to try to help mitigate, and you know, you have to be in the right place doing the right thing correctly during this fight, because one person can wipe this fight. And it's totally amazing how Blizzard really put this together. And this is called the Guild Breaker for a reason. It's called the Guild Breaker because if your guild can't work together, then you are going to get broken, and you're going to either A, have to replace some people, or B, you're going to end up you know, leaving your guild, or you're not going to raid, or you're not going to get any progression. This fight is so critical of everybody being on the same page, everybody being able to work well together, and make sure everybody's maximizing their DPS to push this through. You know, it's a fun fight. It's an amazing fight. I love that I went from LFR, and I knew those pylons were going to be connected, but I love that they added that. I'm glad it's not just something, you know, oh, here's LFR, and it's pretty much the same. I'm really happy with how that worked out and the way Blizzard did this fight, because it made it worth it. It made the pushing and the grinding and everything we've done, and the 11 wipes we had last night. I mean, we made significant progress after every wipe. We pushed and we pushed, and we understood a little better the mechanics. And we had a couple people in there who had done this fight before who were helping us, and I had our main strat in line. So I'm really, really happy. I think, hands down, overall quality, this is the best fight in the instance. And probably I'd say Stoneguard is the hardest fight in the instance. And then Will of the Emperor. Okay, really? So, this, to me, was Blizzard giving you the last boss that said, yay, you guys are awesome. You kick some serious ass, and here is some rewards for you. Here's some gear. Have this. This is a really fun fight. And it isn't a fun encounter, especially as a tank. I love that they go to do devastating combo, and if you can dodge all 5 of their combos, you get the Wrecking Ball for 500k damage automatically. I think it's an amazing, amazing fight, fun-wise. You know, everybody, again, understood, you know, your DPS is there to make sure ads are down and then kill boss. Ads are down, then kill boss. Tank, dodge devastating combo. If you can do the Hagen dance from Nax, you can do the Will of Emperor dance. It's not hard. Dodge some blows, hit him with a 500k damage, you know, 500k plus. I was looking at some of mine. I spiked it to 513 sometimes, and 521 was my highest hit I got on it. But, you know, overall, an amazing fight. Very happy with it, and I cannot complain about how the guild did. You know, there's not many phases in Will the Emperor. It's a very short, straight to the point fight. Like I said, kill ads, kill boss. You win. So overall, Like I said, probably rate Stone Guard's the hardest boss in here because of the tank coordination with the swaps and the power-ups in the petrification process in the Overload series. Then Elegon would be the second hardest fight, if not tied for the first. But most engaging encounter is definitely Elegon. Elegon will bring your guild together if you guys can stick it out that long. You know, mechanically, it's just a beautiful, beautiful fight. There is stuff to keep everyone engaged and making sure your raiders understand their job. If you keep on top of your raiders and they understand to move and get out of the way and DPS at the right time, switch targets, you've got a good team on your hands, and you need to keep it together. It's finding that right core of people that can work well together, and that's the biggest thing and the hardest thing about, you know, being in a guild that rates progression is trying to push forward, even if you're rebuilding or you've got a full team and you're just having some issues. Overall, I give this dungeon a 8 out of 10. I think it was well laid out, well designed, well planned. I loved it. I had no issues with it. It's fun, it's engaging, and it'll make your guild work a little bit. So, I mean, I am super happy with everything. Things that can be done better. Well, things that can be done better. I think overall, like I said, this is a very, very good dungeon. But the things I think Blizzard could have gotten better, initially there was a lot of bugs. I know there was a week in between them releasing it. I wish they would have left it up on PTR a little longer to work some of the bugs out. Because there has been some exploits within, the dungeon itself that people have utilized to down the bosses, i.e. the 80 Paladin coming down and using Vengeance to wreck Stone Guards, put Fang at 6.8%, and down Elegon. As you can see, you guys, we just worked our tushies off and pushing through to get an Elegon kill. And a level 80 Paladin soloed it. Now, yes, Blizzard has hotfix Vengeance, so it will cap at your max health, which is fine. But overall, there's been a lot of exploits and a lot of bugs that have been reported throughout this instance, and I think they did a good job jumping on them. We got a lot of quick hotfixes. Blizzard is starting to get really, really good at speeding up how they respond to the players when they find the bug and they submit the bug reports. And they're doing better about, the blue posts in the bug forums to let us know that, hey, we're correcting this. Yes, we know this is a problem. We're on top of it. So, there's been a couple glitches. One glitch is in one of my videos is I was running around on Spirit Binder and the whole floor gave away. I didn't fall to my death, but it was very bad because all I could see was rocks and a little bit of grass stuff below me. I couldn't see the boss or anything. Now, yeah, it reset, and they reset the boss, and it came back up to normal, but that is a problem. I've had that happen a couple times in a couple of the fights throughout my time in MSV where everything's just gone blank on me, and I had to stop. So this is not necessarily a good thing. So overall, like I said, 8 out of 10. Beautiful raid. Little buggy, but some very engaging encounters in here, and some encounters that'll bring your guild together or break them apart. So I just want to say thanks for watching, guys. If you have any comments, please leave them below, and I'll talk to you guys later. Have a good day.